Hello and welcome to Columbus Local Podcast. I am Len D'Amico, and this is episode number 41. We have Brad Moore today.
Yo, yo.
Brad, how are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks, Len.
I am so glad we got a date, man.
Oh, me too. I'm glad you asked me. I'm surprised you asked me, actually.
Why would you be surprised?
I don't know.
Of all people in Columbus music scene.
You got all these cool people coming on here. I'm like,
You're
I'm not
badass,
worthy.
dude. Totally. Come on.
Thanks.
Your shows are awesome.
Oh, man.
It's appreciated by so many, and I'm just really, really, honored that you would come and hang out for the evening and do this podcast episode.
Thanks, man. We've had fun so far. Even sitting out there having
We
a few
did have
drinks,
a little
chatting.
pregame.
Yeah.
Which I find is it's helpful to because we've been acquainted, but we have never really had an opportunity to like hang out, and even though we have some common friends, right? We haven't been able to really hang out and get to know each other, but we did this evening a little bit. I think we're gonna have some more surprises here in the next 50 minutes.
Right. Like you said earlier, you go to a gig, you can't really like hang out at a gig. You're on your break, and everybody's trying to say hey, and you want to get around and say hey to everybody. But I'm looking forward to this. I've already had a blast just hanging out with you earlier. So
that's cool. That's very cool. Brad, you're involved in several projects, I'll say, currently, and I'd like for you to walk through those if you don't mind, and
sure.
Let us know what you're up to. We see your name everywhere. We see your shows advertised, but take us through.
Well, the latest project we have is officially Brad Moore's Lost Boys. And I really stuck my name out there, as Brad Moore's Lost Boys. Just, there's so many bands out there, and I've kind of been doing it for a while. So just kind of get a recognition to some sort. But then I started feeling guilty, like, I don't want it to be all about me. So I've kind of like took my name off and just like make it the Lost Boys, kind of is how I always say. Some of the best, I've been in quite a few projects over the years, and I got to say that this lineup for me is I think my favorite.
It's a great show, man. It's a real cool show.
And that's what we strive for, We're more about the show. I mean, the guys I've been with played music for a long time, and at least John and.
John Van Meter, shout out.
Oh, man. Yeah, love that guy. Guitar playing is amazing, in my opinion. And, but, as you get older, which we're getting there, I think you realize that it's really, we're out there to entertain. And you kind of play what, makes people happy. And that's what our goal is, And so that's what this band does. And
well, I got to tell you, I mean, measuring by the smiles and the party atmosphere of Turtle Creek this past weekend, I think you guys are accomplishing your mission.
It seems that way.
It was a big event. It was fun to see happening, and being a part of feeling all that.
Thank you. Yeah, and I gotta tell you that the way this band came about is just ridiculous. I was not planning on being in a band. I've been in bands throughout the years, and I'm doing my solo project, which keeps me very busy. And so I was on driving to work one day, my day job, More Entertainment Systems, plug. And I'm in the van.
Check the link in the episode description.
Thanks. I'm driving, on the I-270 Motor Speedway, and my old buddy Doug Hubbard, got to throw him out there because he's meant a lot in my career, my music career over the years. He gives me a call and he goes, "Hey, bud, I got guys lined up. I'd like to do a project with you." And he goes, "I know you're busy. What do you say we just do one show a month? I'll get together with the guys. You pick the songs that you want to do. We'll get together. We'll practice without you. And then just you can come in and we'll run through them and we'll book a show and we'll do once a month." And I'm like, Doug, I mean, how can I resist that? That's just the perfect scenario. So long story short, we got together, we started, we had our song list together, we're rehearsing. You got to book early when you're booking clubs around Columbus. There's so many great bands around Columbus. So I got out there and I started booking. I booked us all out at the lake all summer and everything.
Yeah, what year did you guys come out? It's pretty relatively recent, is it not?
21. Yeah.
Right after post-COVID stuff, right? So you're hustling the band.
We're hustling the band, yeah. So and the name of the band was Royal Forest.
Really?
Yeah. So these guys, again, we're rehearsing. We've got shows lined up and everything. And then my friend, who got this whole thing started, was like, he was having issues at home, and he goes, this might not work for me. I might have to just can this thing. And here I am thinking, I didn't want to do a band to begin with. I'm thinking for this very reason. It's the drama.
Oh my God.
And then it kind of came back, and he's like, no, I think I'm okay. And no, nothing on him. We all have our personal, things we deal with. But it did actually come down to where he was like, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do this. So I gave a call out to my drummer buddy, who I've been in 4 projects over the years, Mike Wharton. And I said, this is a situation, man. I've got all these shows lined up, and we're at this point 8 weeks out from our first show at the waterfront out at Buckeye Lake. And
that's a huge venue.
Yeah.
That you picked for your first show.
Yeah. And because it was our first show,
with no drummer.
Well, no band. It was the whole band.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was kind of a package deal. And
I gotcha.
And he was my contact with my original guy. So, Mike says, let me make some calls. So he calls John Van Meter, and he calls Scott Wood, and he goes, guys, this is what's going on. And they're like, sure, I'm in.
What's the set list?
Exactly. We had to run the same set list because, it was already kind of the songs I knew. Anyway, long story, I'm carrying on here. But
no, it's all good.
All of a sudden, now it's Bradmore's and the Lost Boys at Waterfront. And even when we went to play the gig, Waterfront had it as the Forest Band. Royal Forest Band on their
on the marquee.
On the marquee.
Yeah.
So total chance of how that all took off, and I think it was a blessing. It was a force.
A force that was favorable. Mm-hmm. So Waterfront was, I'm assuming, packed.
Yeah, it was.
For
it
you
was
guys.
A wonderful show. Yeah, a lot of anticipation. Hadn't been out playing for a long time. So.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's really cool. So you guys rolled from there, and it's been nonstop for you guys then for that, right?
Yeah. Now keep in mind my deal with my wife, my Tammy.
Yes.
Tammy Moore, plug.
Tammy, she's so sweet, and she came with you tonight, mm-hmm. and it's a pleasure to have met Tammy. We do see her online.
Yeah.
If you follow Brad on Facebook, you see Tammy a lot.
Yeah.
But to have the opportunity to talk with her, is a cherished moment.
Yeah, she's my thing, man.
Yeah.
She's everything. But I forgot where I was going there. But
I apologize.
No, you're fine.
I totally screwed you up.
No, you didn't. No, the deal was, though, I'm back on track now. If I was going to do another band, she's like, once a month. Can you do that? Can you tell me that you can just keep it to once a month?
Because you're still doing Brad Moore solo, right?
Yeah, in the day business.
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute, but there's a lot going on with your efforts there. True.
Yeah. I mean, in the summer, I've cut way back, but I'm still doing, 14 shows a month solo during the summer.
Right.
There was a point I was doing 20 shows a month through the summer. So we cut way back on that. Winter, obviously, the late gigs fall off. So that's kind of a blessing. That's our time to just chill out and do our own thing, you know. But yeah, so I totally respect that. And the guys, the Lost Boys, are all like, yeah, they're down with it.
Once a month is fine with me.
They've done they've been all played out in bands every
God, yeah.
weekend.
All those guys,
And
man.
they're like, it's refreshing to just do once a month, and we can have lives and go out and see other bands. And you know, when I get a lucky moment, which to me is awesome, when I get to go out and hang with my Lost Boy and watch another band, is priceless.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. That's really cool. I think how did that pact with Tammy work out for you, Brad? Like is it once a month?
it is pretty much, yeah,
Pretty much.
pretty much.
So
I mean,
there's exceptions, but
you know, she'll come off. You know, we did a down on campus. We did a OSU tailgate show, and she's like, you know, yeah, you can add that to your.
that's okay.
And then recently, which I think might be my favorite show period that I've ever done, maybe because I grew up in Delaware, Ohio. I mean, I knew the ground. You know, I used to go to the Delaware County Fair, and so did Scott, my bass player, and Mike, the drummer, were all from Delaware. And, you know, they got a hold of us this year, and they'll usually have like McGuffey Lane or, you know, Phil Dirt and the Dozers or something, close them out. And they're like, you know, we'd like to have you guys this year. So we're going to do that this year, close out the Delaware County Fair.
What's that date? Do you know offhand? Is it in the spring?
Let's see, I just happened to... no, it'd be in the fall. It'd be in September. It's always the...
September 2024.
September 2024.
The Lost Boys will be doing this gig.
Yeah, and that would be September 21st.
2024.
Yeah.
All right, Delaware. Keep your eyes peeled for that one.
Yeah, that's going to be so fun.
That's an honor, and that's refreshing to hear that news.
Yeah, I'm psyched.
That's cool. That's
Yep.
big news.
I'm, you know, small town guy playing your Delaware County Fair, you know, your hometown fair.
With some compadres and bandmates that are from the same area, it means something to you guys.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's huge.
I'm blessed right now.
You are, man. It's awesome. That's really cool. So, Lost Boys has probably a full book for 2024 at this point, right? We're
Yep.
December, end of the year, all the venues that you probably wanted to hit or
Yeah.
latching on to the opportunity, right?
Yeah, we've been booked for quite a while, actually, for 2024. And actually, you know, Leon's Garage recently reached out to us, and I've never been out there. Like we were talking earlier while we were having some tequila. And I was saying, you know, that's like the other side of the world for, you know, me and Tammy. We live in Pataskala area.
Yeah.
But, you know, they reached out, and I think we booked St. Patty's Day there 2025.
Oh, sweet.
So that's definitely the furthest I've ever booked any project out. But yeah. So we're on a roll. I don't take anything for granted. I've been in multiple bands. You have too. Bands come and
A little
go.
different level, though, Brad. I mean, come on. I got a later start. You know, run my deal. You know, but the reality though is, you know, you're still rolling hard. You know, and you're managing your time.
Yeah.
Lost Boys is obviously a successful, fun venture.
Yeah, it is. And it's all about balance. You know, it is.
And that's what it kind of came to, right? Like, sounds like, you know, Tammy's a good barometer,
Yes, indeed.
obviously.
She takes that calendar and she marks those X's. You are not playing this weekend. You are not. We're going to come camping. We're going to do this. Which, bless her heart. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's awesome. You don't even have to think about it.
Right.
Oh, we're going camping this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
She was even doing some booking this year. You know, I'm like, hey, if you're managing the calendar, by gosh, give these people a call and you do it. You
Make
know,
it happen.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's worked out great.
That's awesome, man. That is.
Yeah.
And then, so in addition to Lost Boys, you have yourself.
It's a three-piece, actually. It's me, myself, and I, and the three of us.
You guys go at it
We go at it.
acoustically.
Yeah.
Brad Moore Acoustic.
Bradmore Acoustic.
You're booked everywhere, man.
Yeah, well,
You've got some home bases.
Yes.
That we know. Where do we find your performances?
my home base has always been probably Flanagan's Pub. I can remember trying to get in there back in the day. To me it was like, oh man, I want to play.
That's the Mecca.
I want to play Flanagan's. And they've been so good to me over the years. Matt Flanagan, and there's a big history there. But I've also been fortunate to play Mojito Bay out of Put-in-Bay. And I just realized I'll be there 10 years now. This coming year, I love that venue, and I've got to the point where I can, when I make that trip up there, I do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to make it worth that trip. And then Tammy will usually go, okay, we're not going home yet. We're going to stay another day on the island, and just hang out, which, then it becomes like, vacation kind of thing. And we love that too.
And you're well known there, right? And then we're talking about is this Put-in-Bay?
Put-in-Bay, yeah.
Yeah. What's the name of the venue?
It's Mojito Bay.
And you're there how many times a year?
I'm there one full weekend a month through the summer.
Nice.
Yeah. It's
Nice.
a perfect balance.
With another-
Again, balance.
Day or two with Tammy, right? At
Yep.
the end. That's awesome.
Can't beat it.
No way. How many shows does your acoustic project gig per year, roughly?
Well, like I said, like during the winter months, obviously the lake gigs, go down. So, I'm doing 5-6 shows a month during the winter, and then just it's maybe 12 to 14 during the summer. But I used to do like 20 or 22.
Yeah, I remember those
which
days.
was
I rember seeing you
crazy.
everywhere. I was like,
Yeah.
man, this guy's on fire.
Yeah, that's just a little too much. Of course, I'm getting a little older too, so that's a young man's game, man.
It's funny you say that. It really, you're still pretty fit dude, and you're still out there. But is it taxing physically?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Especially the band.
I know how I feel after a gig. It's not pretty. It takes me 2 days to recover, man.
I tell you what, if it wasn't for the band,
Lately, I'm not even really moving very much. My stage presence is horrible. I'm not even really playing out anymore. But for you, like, how is that for you?
I'm not a young pup anymore for sure. I don't like to lead on. I don't like to lead, tell anybody that. I want to look like I'm,
Well, and you do.
invincible, but
you are invincible. You're on a swing.
I'm on a
You
swing.
got sunglasses on. You're looking sharp.
Come on,
man.
I've been on all the roofs out at Buckeye Lake. I get on the bar roof, if you believe that or not. I'm a little nuts there, but no, I'm just. If it wasn't for the band, I'd be in a lot worse shape because I'm on the elliptical every morning. I have a routine pretty much every day, and that I kind of gotta do if I want to keep up with it. I'll be the big 6-0 come next month.
Next month, really?
Yeah, January.
Aquarius?
Yeah. No, Capricorn.
Oh, you're Capricorn.
Capricorn. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe the Capricorn in me is always looking for something else, or climbing that. I don't know, but
Hanging tough.
yeah, trying, fighting the fight.
Musically, do you have anything beyond the Lost Boys and Bradmore Acoustic? Or are you just juggling kind of
Yeah, just those two.
items?
Yeah, I couldn't handle anymore.
That's enough, right?
Yeah.
Plus, you have a day job.
Yeah, the day job makes a lot of high end audio video. Not all high end. I'll hang a TV and stuff and do that kind of stuff. But yeah, that I'm the only one doing that, other than my wife. Helps me do the bookwork and taxes and stuff like that. But so I'm quoting, and I'm buying materials, and I'm doing the install, and so that's a lot of work. And with behind the scenes, I'll get home from work, unload all my tools out of my van, throw all my music gear in the van, that deal.
Wow.
Go to the bar, play the gig, come back home, empty out my van, throw all my tools back in the van.
To get ready for the next day.
Yeah.
Really, dude?
Yeah.
Oh, my
So
God. There's a lot going on there.
lot going on.
Like, I know for me, like, I'm a guitar player. Like, I'll come home from the gig and everything stays in the car till the next gig.
That would be awesome.
Like, I could unload, but that typically doesn't happen. Not
Yeah.
at this age.
Right?
Just like, sometimes there's a blanket that covers this stuff, so I don't get my car broken into or whatever.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh, man, you got a lot going on.
Yeah, it is a good balance. I got my Tammy. She keeps me grounded, and you got
She's
good
wonderful,
woman, man.
She's so wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is.
And how long have you guys been together?
We have been together 25 years next year. 25. Well, we'll be married 25 years, but we dated 5 years prior to that. So,
Yeah. So you've been together
almost
a
30
long time.
years. Yeah,
Bless your hearts.
yeah.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm blessed all the way around. I'm very, very fortunate.
There's almost a halo around Brad Moore.
That could be the
at the
tequila. I don't
microphone.
know.
A shout out to Julie Hinson Moore. Okay, Prue Dog and Julie were here. This is what she made for hours: tequila and lime juice.
That's how you got your.
And that's it. And I'm like, and I read somewhere you like tequila, and I thought, well, he's a bourbon guy, maybe tequila. We
it.
settled on the tequila, and Tammy had a glass of wine with Beth, and tequila's good stuff, man. I'm ashamed to say I'm becoming a tequila fan.
Nothing to be ashamed of there. No. You could go worse. You could get worse.
I suppose, man. So, Brad, you've had quite a career in Columbus. Where are you from, and what got you started in music?
Well, I'm from Delaware, Ohio. Very proud to be from there. I want to give a plug out to my mom, Paul and Thelma Moore,
Awesome.
who are my huge supporters. They're living in Florida right now, but and when they come home, they're always at a gig. They always have been. And I picked up a guitar. My uncle gave my sister an acoustic guitar. And this was, I was in elementary school probably then. And I started fiddling around with the guitar. And then I got into junior high, and we did some choir concerts, I actually would get up and try to do something and just solo at that point. I was horrible. Because my problem was always, I'm scared of I'm an introvert, really, and so it was really hard for me to get out in the public eye. It was a big challenge for me to do that. I'm not saying you've overcome that, but, you work with
What you have, and
right.
struggle and balance that with your desires to do something, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I can relate to that. Good for you.
Thanks.
But was it guitar and vocals, or just initially the guitar?
It was initially just the guitar.
Yeah. Okay.
And I got a good story there about that. Because I went out of high school. I went in the Army, and I served up till '86. And in the Army, we would have jam sessions and stuff. And in the bay that we had the trucks and stuff, they'd let us set up amps and stuff, and we'd go out there and just jam and turn everything up and get loud. But it was nothing serious. And I got out of the Army, and I was living up in Marengo, and I went with my wife at that time. It was not Tammy, but we went into a music store there in Mount Gilead, and it was literally the size of this room. It was like 12 by 12, tiny, tiny store. It was on a Sunday, and we wander into this music store, and the guy there, I'm picking up a guitar and I'm messing around and stuff, and he just starts talking to him, and he's like, "Hey, are you in a band?" I said, "No, I'm in a garage, And he goes, "When you play, who sings when you jam?" And I said, "Well, I do." but we don't really, again, we just fiddle fart. And he goes, well, I got these guys literally up the street that are rehearsing right now that are looking for a vocalist. And he goes, would you be interested in that? And me being the introvert, I said, no. And my wife at the time's like, come on, give it a shot.
What do you got to lose, man?
So it was a Sunday. Nobody was in there. He shut the place down right then. Shut the place down, took us up the street, and I go in this living room of this old house, and they have all the lyrics handwritten on sheets of paper. And we went through a few songs. And I get a call the next day, and they go, we'd like you to be in the band. And I'm like, I'm in this band now. Never been in a band in my life. So we would play like the Cardington Eagles, and I think I stared at my shoes the whole time. I could not.
How old were you?
Well, this would have been
post service, right?
This would have been out of the service, yeah. So I was like 20. Well, yeah, I'd be like 23, 4. And, so to continue on with that journey, we, like any band, we would progress, and we started playing different places other than the Eagles. And the lead guitar player it was his band. And we entered Rock Wars at Alrosa Villa. And
what year?
This had to been, I look at my nose, but
That's right.
it's 2000.
So this is 2000s.
Yeah, it's about 2000.
Okay.
Right there. So he didn't really want to be outside of Mount Gilead, which I don't blame him,
Right.
like a little small town. So the band started breaking up, and the drummer dropped out. I got my buddy Mikey, who now we've been in 4 projects, and he's in the Lost Boys, came aboard. Bass player left. We got a different bass player. And before I knew it, I was the only original member in this band. And we ended up taking it to, we finished second in Rock Wars that year. But that was my first experience with a band.
And you knew that you had something going, right? Like, I
Yeah,
mean, that's a big deal, man.
Well, now I've got I've got the piece of that, the taste of that.
Yeah.
And now it's part of me, Then from then on, I'm like,
Take it on.
This is what I want to do.
It's on.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Thanks. Music has been such all my friends, and you're a musician. Think about how many of our friends or people that you've learned or that you've met from the music business. Fellow musicians.
There's a lot. There's so many.
Yeah. Most anybody I can think of right now, my closest friends have come from playing music.
Yep.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and so for you, then, you're coming off of that high that you got bit. You got bit that event at the Alrosa Villa, which, did you guys know about that venue at the time? Because it's got such a huge history.
Right. During that era in our life, it was a gold nugget.
Yep.
And we were talking earlier that you've had other people and I can drop names all day long, and I will drop Saddleback Shark, who we mentioned earlier, John Holman,
God.
Rob Johnson,
Yeah.
who was that bass player? I thought of him earlier, but just the beast of a band, and oh man, that era, they were lighting it on fire, and you could play originals at that point, and it was packed, all the time. It was just a glorious time to be
And
in
the sound
the
guys
live music
there
scene.
that, are
Yeah.
still working,
Yeah.
either on their own or in some clubs around town. They're the Alrosa Villa sound men that are still operating.
For sure.
It's really cool to discover that.
Carl Gunther, I thought of the bass
Still in there.
player.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's a name.
Yeah. But Tamer Lane, I could go on and on. But, let's throw out some names now. Clubber Lang, those boys are killing it. Love those guys. Radio City, we talked about.
I love everybody you're talking about.
Distorted Silence, have you seen them? They're great guys.
Rico,
and
he's got,
Jason.
and he brought Jason in to hit the drums, out of retirement.
Oh, yeah.
He's back in the game.
The music scene now is so awesome because we were talking again. They're supportive. We're all supporting each other, which is, and that's what you're doing right now is a great time in the music biz around Columbus because you are capitalizing on that vibe that
I'm not trying to capitalize anything. I'm trying to continue to do what I've always done. I just think that it's really cool to hear firsthand from people like yourself in this case tonight, talk about what's inspiring them because we see you playing everywhere, and we see your performance, and like we talked earlier, that's not the time to visit. You can say, hey man, hey, digging the show, and that's about it. That's all the minutes you have.
Right.
But to hear you talk about where you're from and what inspired you and what you're doing from yourself. I mean, that's something else, and that's something that I've always tried to do on my own. But now I'm finding that there's other people that are just as interested, and there's a lot of facets of these episodes that we can all benefit from, and it all goes back to what you're talking about right now.
Yeah,
and there is a genuine common thread for all these folks and that we go out and see and that we support that is based from love of what we do and what you do and what you're doing, and you want to raise up your people around you. And how is that different from what you've seen in the past, Brad?
Yeah, from the past.
Have you seen differences?
Yeah, because it was a competition. Now maybe it could very well be that we've just gotten older, and you get empathy as you get older, maybe, But yeah, in earlier days it was definitely competition, and the guys crossing their arms back in the back of the El Rosa Villa, going, I could do that better.
I've heard that from other folks talking about that back row in the back of the El Rosa Villa, those dudes with their arms crossed.
Versus now, they're in the front and they're supporting you and they're clapping and they're cheering you on, and I also got to put the Pretty Filth. I got to put them in there.
Oh my
Kudos.
God, they were just here last weekend.
And I had to put the because I know that drives Josh crazy if I don't put the in front. But other great people there. How cool.
Oh yeah, there's so many.
Yeah, there is.
There's so many, and there's a lot in other genres, right? Like I consider myself a rock person. Rock. I'll always love rock music, but I also like funk. I like the blues. There's a lot of genres out there, and there's a lot of pockets of people that are in different scenes that I don't even know about, but I'd like to learn more about. And I've had some exposure to folks, like the Reverend Chris Barton as an example. I don't know that you've ever met Chris.
I don't think I have.
The Rev, as I like to call him, is a badass.
Yeah.
He's done a lot in Columbus, and his scene has been historically, original music on High Street, campus bars and venues on High. Chris is a hardworking musician that writes songs and works with some top-notch folks. We don't know about him, but he's got an episode on the podcast,
Right. I'm going to check that out.
Some people are going to get to know others, and they're going to want to know. Like myself, I'm just curious about how this all stuff ticks. It's a blast.
Yeah. We're blessed that the music scene in Columbus is
We are very blessed.
Yeah.
No doubt about
amazing.
it. No doubt about it. And you've got more than 10,000 hours in your craft. I know that.
Yeah,
I don't know how
I'm
many
sure.
hours you have, but you know what? And it shows, man. You're just the. It's a great show. It's so much fun.
Thank you.
And I know you're having a good time.
I'm
And you're
blessed.
doing what you love.
Yeah, that's everything.
All from that Alrosaville event
Yeah.
when you got bit.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like there's always some event where, you know, you kind of like, that's it. Boom. And you just go from there.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about what there's a force. We think there's like a force in the universe, that maybe channels, you might be writing a song and it just comes to you. Or I'd like to think that how I hooked up with the Lost Boys this time around, it just was weird. Everything fell into play, Sometimes things fall into place, sometimes they don't. Sometimes everything goes to shit, but,
Yeah, we've been there.
yeah, we've been there, done that. So we got to cherish and feel blessed for, that what we do have for sure.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. No, so Brad, how many, there were a lot of bands that you were in the 2000s before you kind of focused on, your acoustic efforts.
Yeah.
And then I think you revealed that, the Lost Boys really wasn't your idea,
Right.
but it's happening. And we're glad that you're doing it.
Thanks.
But, between Alrosa and where you are currently, I know there's some hot bands that were in Columbus. Like, can you kind of take us through some of those projects and remind us?
I'm going to get my note here and just look because my mind.
No, that's okay, man. So, what was the name of the Alrosa project?
That was Ball and Chain.
Ball and
Yeah.
Chain.
And that was, late 80s, early 90s.
Sure.
Then, we went to Machine Gun Holiday, which is a perfect
awesome.
Alrosaville name. It was 80s metal,
And you were fronting that band?
Yeah, I was fronting that band.
Singing.
I was starting to actually look at the audience at that point, but still not, really that outgoing. But and then I got into Mindset, which was 96, 98, with my buddy Doug Hubbard, who I threw out his name. We were going to do this last project together, and that fell through. And I went in an acoustic duo, Acoustic Brew. High Impedance was another band, 2004. The Divide.
I remember The Divide.
That was my band that I actually started, but and that was Mike Wharton again on drums.
Who's your guitar player? Do you remember?
That was
just
Matt
two?
Bradley, and John Van Meter came in right when I left.
Okay.
And that's my fault. I get really burnt out easily, and that's why the set list we're doing in the Lost Boys I really like, because we're not, I grew up in the '80s, and I loved all the '80s metal, still to this day. But I just get burnt out. I can't play, and the Pretty Filth do it all night long, and they're awesome. They rock it. But I get so burnt out on anything for too much. So we are all over the place. We'll do new country. We'll do classic rock. We'll do Motown.
You're doing yacht rock.
We do a little bit of yacht rock.
I love it.
I love it too, man.
Yeah.
And I heard Angela talking because I listened a little bit of their interview, and she's like, she's all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
In her music interest. And
my God,
I
yeah.
totally am too, man. I love all, 70s, 80s, just about anything. But, so, then we're up to Photobomb, 2014.
Remember Photobomb, man.
What a great band.
Well, you guys, I just remember a lot at that Dublin On the Rocks.
Yeah.
And On the Rocks, if you were playing On the Rocks, you knew that you were like a good band and you were going to hit. You're on your way to Lazy Chameleon and some of these other,
Yeah.
But it was before Turtle Creek, but,
Yep.
just some of the, popular venues, Photobomb. What a name, man. Was that your band, or did you get kind of recruited in?
I think I got recruited in there. What was the band? Blue Cuda. And then the singer,
Killer.
Dan, I think he left, and then so they needed another singer, and then they didn't want to keep it the same, so it became Photobomb. Matt Bradley on guitar, John Van Meter on guitar, Todd Bettler on bass, and John Holman on the drum kit.
I love that lineup.
That was a great lineup.
Yeah, man. And how long did that go?
1 year, exactly.
To the day.
We played our first show at the Final Score New Year's, and we played our last show at the Final Score of the next New Year's, and that again was me. I had so much on my plate. The balance, the whole balance thing.
Good for you, like recognizing that, right?
Yeah, I was just like, I'm not going to go into another year. I just can't handle it. And I actually, I had a panic attack playing Flanagan's Pub one night. I was literally in the middle of a show, and I had this panic attack, and I put down the guitars on break, and I went over to another musician friend that was sitting at the bar that played there also. And I said, dude, can you do me a favor and finish my set? Because I can't play anymore. And I put it down for 4 years after that. I just, it was scary being in front of all those people and having that, But it was Tammy lost her son in a car accident during that time. And just,
a lot of emotional going on. Yeah. Bless you.
So we put that aside, and then, came back out about 4 years later. But
and you came back out solo, or did you come back out with a band?
I came out solo.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you ran with that?
Yeah, I ran with that for a while. Started back at Flanagan's. And one of my first shows back was the Circleville Pumpkin Show. And I got to share this one because I was booking through a booking agent, and she booked me there on an afternoon. And I says, is there a PA there? And she says, oh, yeah, everything's there. Just, go. You'll be good to go. I get there, and it's a bullhorn system for making announcements is the PA. So I played my show on this little bullhorn system, and Chris Stebrel had a duo, the Barflies, that were coming up after me. And I called him, and I said, look, grab some speakers and bring something over if you still can, because you're going to need something. Anyway, I did get a show out of that. I had a woman come up and talk to me after I was done playing. And she said, I'd love for you to play our venue or our place. And I said, okay, and what is it? And she said, well, it's located out here, and we're out in the woods, and it was the Cedar Trails Nudist Retreat. It was a nudist colony.
That would be an interesting gig.
It was.
Oh, okay.
Extremely interesting. I played it, and me and Tammy, we get to the end of the drive. It's in the middle of nowhere, and we stopped and we laughed because we're like, oh no, what are we getting into? What are we getting into?
Because you're looking at the surroundings and coming up with that?
It's just the woods, but we're at the end of the drive, and it says nudist, the nudist colony, and we don't know what we're going to experience. So we just took a moment and we laughed, and we pull in, and everybody is naked. They're eating dinner in a shelter house. I'm talking kids, parent, all ages, naked. Completely naked, and oh my gosh! And the restrooms were all the same. You showered together. Now on their defense, it wasn't anything sexual. It was a way that they felt.
Right.
It was a natural thing. I guess we were born that way, and that was how they felt. It was nothing, sexual about it or anything. But I played that show to a bunch of naked people in their shelter house.
And you were not, right?
Well, and they did ask me.
Really?
And I kind of compromised. They said, how about we give you this shirt to wear? and you get naked and you can just put this shirt on. And I did. So I'm naked, but I have this shirt on. Plus, I have my guitar in front of me.
Right. Strategically placed.
Right. So that was an experience. They invited me back the next year, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to pass on this one. That was enough. But I experienced that. I'll never forget that.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What year was that?
Oh my gosh, I knew you were going to say that. But that
no,
was,
it's all right.
wait, it's 2004.
Okay, not too long ago.
Yeah. 20 years.
Yes. Wow. That's quite a story, Brad.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, but what music gets us into.
It is an unusual opportunity to experience things that you can't make up.
Yeah. That's rock and roll, I guess.
It is
what they
rock
say.
and roll. That's good stuff, man. Do you have anything else on the road that has happened that, shines in your mind? What do you got?
I got, I was trying to do, I did my original CD, and I was trying to make it for a while. I thought, I'm going to try to go at
Right.
this.
Good for you.
And I took some trips down to Nashville, totally blind. Didn't know what I was doing. I would try to hit open mics down there, anything we could do. And we went down there. And at the time, it was on Music Row. It was a place called Best Western. And it was right on Music Row. And they had one of the biggest open mics there. And because it was on Music Row, people would wander in, and you never know. You might get lucky. So we went there on a weekend. I played there on Friday. I was able to get up. On Saturday, I went up, and I went there to sign up, and there were so many people I couldn't get on. So we're sitting there, the bar's emptying out. They've stopped the open mic, and just me and like 5 other people are sitting around the bar, and we're just closing out the night. And this tour bus comes up, and these guys roll in on the other side of the bar, and they're like, I thought there was an open mic stage here tonight. And yeah, you just missed it. They closed down. And I'm like, well, were you going to play? He goes, yeah, we're going to play. And his buddy here is like, you know who this is? And I go, no. He goes, Joe Bonamassa.
No way.
And I'm like, I was an idiot. I didn't know who he was. I'm like, but...
He wasn't that well known back then. He was playing Whiskey Dicks in Columbus.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not a very big club.
Right. Well, at this point, he's like, Joe Bonamassa. And I had to repeat that like 3 times. Joe who? Whatever. Anyway, we sat around and did a guitar circle in the middle of the bar. Me and him and the 5 other guys that were in the bar. We passed the acoustic guitar around, and we all played an original song. We probably did this 3 or 4, 5 tunes each. So I'm like, I can say, hey, I passed the guitar around with Joe Bonamassa, who I didn't know who it was when we did.
That's a cool story, man.
Pretty fun.
Absolutely. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. And he gave us tickets for the show the next night. They were playing down in Nashville at some, like a theater. And there were several big names there to see him that night. So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Very cool. I wish I had known you that.
Peter Frampton was there that night.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you pass a guitar with Peter as well?
No, but
okay.
They just said he was up in the audience,
That's sweet, man.
Pretty cool.
Very cool. So
Rock and roll.
So you played Frampton.
No, he was just there watching Joe that night.
I got you, man. That's sweet. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah. Music brings so much together, man. It really does. It really does.
Life would be a lot more boring without it, for sure. I can't imagine. But everybody has their thing,
They do. And, you're fortunate to have found yours, and you've overcome some of your personal boundary space, with your introversion, et cetera, and look at you now, man.
Yeah. Again, I'll say it again. I'm blessed. I feel blessed. And to met you too. you seem like you've got your, your
Oh,
little
I'm
place.
blessed.
Yeah,
I'm totally blessed.
for sure.
No doubt about it. We all have our ups and downs in life, and I've certainly had my my share of those.
Right.
But lots of highs, man.
Yeah.
And very grateful for every minute of all of that.
Me too. Yeah, there's something in there.
Yeah. So maybe it's that thread that we talked about earlier, the fabric of the universe, that some of these original people, one of the things I've learned, and I shared this with you earlier, is the people that write original music talk about the fabric that they're sort of tapped into, that they're inspired with melodies, and sometimes the whole song is presented to them, and there's just so much out there that they get the opportunity to perform and deliver what it is that was presented to them in a dream, or in a relaxed state. It's really amazing, the stories that even I've heard just talking to some of our compadres that on all levels, right? That are experiencing this and writing original material. Have you come across this at all, Brad?
Yeah, yes, I did. My original CD, I mentioned this, I have 10 songs on there, and the last song I did, Wish You Well, which has gone a long way. I actually played it at 6 funerals because it's about losing a friend. But that song wrote itself. All the other songs on the CD took me quite a while to write, and that song came like boom. So yeah, I think you're right. There's a force there. And I mentioned that earlier. The guy that mixed my CD down, he had a philosophy that the universe is made up and it has walls and barriers, because if it was easy, anybody could get in there and cloud it up, and and he believed that you had these obstacles that you had to come through and get through to get to that channel, that the universe, and I don't know, I have to think that makes sense to me.
There seems to be something there.
Who am
man.
I to?
I mean, I don't know anything. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know what's happening. But it certainly is a gift, and it's a pleasure talking with you.
Likewise. And I don't
Love
think
it.
we've met maybe one time before, right?
I've known. I mean, how can you not know Brad Moore, like, in this town? I like so many others, though, right? Like so many others that are out there doing it. Your online presence, I could maybe see, maybe I can make it to Flanagan's tonight, and sometimes I was there in the back, but, to get a little glimmer, to get to know someone, this is a gift, to be able to sit down and do a podcast episode with Brad Moore or any of the folks that are out there in the Columbus music scene. And hear firsthand. I mean, it's just incredible to do that. And I know it's a personal passion of mine, but so many others are taking advantage of the episodes and listening, and it's a blast.
I know you're the guy for the job. You do such a great job, and I think what you're doing is really cool. It's bringing Columbus together and getting that out there. And I know you were talking to me earlier about how many people you've had in here interviewing, and I'm like, man, I gotta listen to that one, and I gotta listen to that one.
Some of these, yeah. There's been a lot, and there's a lot next week during Christmas week, during the holidays between Christmas and New Year's. I'm trying to wrap up the year with some good episodes, so we can go into 2024. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it until there's no listeners, no one's interested, or the community says enough of this, man.
Nah, hell, you might be the next Howard Stern there. You never know, man. You might.
That I don't know. What I do like, though, is some of us have global presence. And there's listeners from all over the world. There's I think we're up to maybe 20 countries that have kind of a pod of listeners to Columbus-based music conversations like this.
That's awesome.
And it's just drawing attention to the Columbus talent. And there is so much here. And the opportunities, too, for the future. Hopefully, we'll keep things rolling for a good while. It'll be fun. I don't have any aspirations. I'm doing this just out of just the pure love of Columbus-based music,
It shows.
and the folks along the way that I've met and that I haven't met yet. But I think it's a good platform for people to really kind of tell their tale
I think so too.
and talk about things that are important to them, that inspire them to get on that stage
Right? And
every weekend.
channel that universe. Channel the universe.
You know, that universe. There's something there.
Yeah, there is.
There's something there. Well, Brad Moore, vocalist, musician, band leader, frontman. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Len. My pleasure. Appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, I'm going to keep rolling. And I'm going to try to get out there and play a little bit too myself whenever I can. But
Let us all know when you are.
I will, dude.
We'll come out
I
and support
will.
you.
I got to figure out what's happening with some of the things I'm involved in. But aside from that, I really appreciate your time. I know you're busy.
Back at you, buddy. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. And we appreciate everybody listening. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you all.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.